I can start in the meanwhile. Hi, everyone. I'm Maor Sadra. I'm CEO and co-founder of a company called Incremental. Incremental is a measurement solution that measures incrementality, hence the name. We work with companies like Supercell and Scopely, but Monday.com and Wix.com and eToro and Binance and Bank Hapoalim for all of you Israelis who also know that. I'm really excited to be here, as maybe you can hear from my voice. I'm really grateful for Ophir to have kept this also last year, where we almost had no foreign visitors. And there was like less than 20 people from abroad last year. This year it's like 10x that. So that's really incredible. And I know he's not here, but maybe just record a round of applause for Ophir. It's amazing that he kept this, and really, really grateful for him. Anyway, I'm an old-timer in this industry, hence the picture of a dinosaur. I've been in this industry since like 2002. I always grew on the media side. And then about 5 years ago, I co-founded with a co-founder here, Incremental. And today, what I'm going to talk about may piss some people off. It's okay. I'm fine with it. I am known as an opinionated person. I am opinionated. And essentially, what I'm going to talk about today is somewhat of a confession. Okay? A confession is something I want to admit that, again, might make some of us feel a little uncomfortable. Okay? And my main opinion is why I think we've been doing measurement wrong for the past 2 decades. Okay? Now, the controversial statement I'm going to make, which again may piss some people off, sorry about that, is I think attribution was broken way before privacy killed it. And I'm going to use the next, 12 minutes and 92 slides to prove my point. Yeah? So, I'm going to start with this. In the last 20 years, the way advertising worked with this, users saw ads, okay? Users saw ads everywhere. TV, billboards, radio, online, mobile, okay? Anything that wasn't trackable was just labeled as branding, oh, we cannot measure it. And 100% of the credit went to whoever touched the user last. That's how it worked. Now, an analogy I really like using is this. Using attribution is kind of like running a football team where you only pay the person scoring the goal. Now, if you've ever heard me speak, you already heard that I use this analogy quite a bit, because it works. For today, especially for IMS, I made new analogies. Using attribution is kind of like managing a basketball team where you only pay the person scoring the points and you fire the 4 other players, right? Yeah, all right. If this analogy doesn't work for you, let's try this one. There's a lot of sports, okay? Actually, sports works really well for this analogy. Another one, completely different, is like going to a restaurant and giving it 5 stars for the garnish, completely ignoring the meal itself. That's what attribution was. Now, I used to think fraud will be the end of attribution. People will wake up suddenly and say, oh my God, it was never fraud, it was attribution fraud. Okay, what do I mean with that? So, I took a page from the fundamentals of fraud, I went to the University of Fraud somewhere, and got you how does attribution fraud actually work. Okay, so stage 1, you buy a ton of shitty inventory, pardon my French, and you generate an impression for every click. Sorry, a click for every impression. Or you somehow convince the advertiser to give you post view. You get attributed, ta-da, you collect CPI payouts, and you go and retire, okay? Again, I used to think attribution fraud will drive people to look for alternatives, but I kind of learned the hard way that some people are completely fine with attribution fraud. It actually makes them look great. And if you go outside and see a couple of the really, really nice cars, some of them were paid by attribution fraud. Anyway, I used to also think that privacy will be the end. People will be like, oh my God, I need a new solution. For those of you who don't know, consent rates on iOS are sub 10%. No one clicks, oh yeah, I allow it to be tracked. Like, who would do that? And when you really think of like a low consent rate, you're talking about very low accuracy. For some people, seems like our industry is also completely fine with that. Like accuracy, schmaccuracy, yeah? Now, every survey always says people are aware of the fact that attribution is not great as a means of measurement. Why? One, it ignores consideration. Okay? It just looks at the bottom of the funnel. it ignores the upper funnel. Actually, when you think about it, often attribution ignores the fact that there is a funnel. Okay? There is no funnel, just last touch. But the thing that attribution really has for it is really easy. Okay? It's really easy to work with. It kind of makes sense. It often makes people look good, even when it actually means that you're not really driving any value. If you're not sure, I'll zoom in further, none of the arrows actually hit the bullseye. Yeah? Attribution gives people the illusion of precision. What is the illusion of precision, you might think? This is the illusion of precision. It's a table that has numbers on it that kind of look like they make sense, even if they make absolutely no sense whatsoever, because a 90+% click-through rate doesn't make sense. Users don't really like ads. If you're running any TV campaigns, you're like, branding, schmanding, doesn't generate real value, it's just an ego boost. No, it's actually generating quite a lot of results, and a lot of the other channels benefit from it. But measurement seems to be completely off. I actually claim that the illusion of precision made people spend and often waste millions of dollars on making wrong decisions simply using bad data. But was it always like this? Attribution actually once did make a lot of sense as a means of measurement. Okay, I'm going to take you back in time. Maybe some of you weren't alive back then. We're going 1999, okay? 1999 was an awesome year. I finished high school back then. And again, we're talking 1999, not 1899. Yeah, this was the year of Furby. This was the year of The Matrix. This was the year of Austin Powers. It was amazing, okay? Back then, a computer looked like this. If you wanted to get music, you went to Dizengoff Center, to the ground floor, to Disc Center. You spent hours there listening to stuff and getting Pearl Jam and Radiohead, amazing musicians. That's how you consumed your music. Phones were completely indestructible back then, to be fair, they were amazing. Okay? Internet or modems looked something like this, sounded like a dying donkey, and were roughly as fast as a snail doing drugs. Okay? This was the internet. Now, the internet looked like this. It was full of pop-ups, pop-unders, I was there. It was really slow, to be fair. By the time a website actually loaded, by the time a pop-up actually loaded, if you pointed your mouse and clicked on it, you likely meant it. Back then, last touch attribution made a lot of sense, to be fair. The world was very linear, very predictable. User clicks, they mean it, they purchase, they sign up, they do whatever, kind of made a lot of sense. Fast forward, 2025. A computer today looks something like this, or when you think about it, a supercomputer looks like this, or maybe even like this, or if you're very cool, like this. No one buys music anymore. Who buys music? By the way, the people who buy records, FYI, 50% of the people who buy records don't actually have a record player. So even the people who still have some kind of a nostalgia, oh, I'm going to buy music, they don't listen to it. This is how we listen to music today. Internet is really fast. This is my home connection. I'm very proud of it. If you have a teenage daughter, this is how people take pictures today. Yeah, for some reason. Now, academia says we are exposed to anywhere between 4,000 and 12,000 ads a day. Okay? That's what the academic research says. Doesn't matter if I buy into it or not. Let's say it's a lot. And essentially what I'm saying is last touch doesn't really work in this environment. And I'm going to prove it with some analogies. I really like analogies. Okay? So, using attribution in today's world is kind of like using a beans calculator to do advanced computation. Technically, you can probably do it, but it's going to be really, really inefficient. Using attribution today is also kind of like hiring a mime to do customer support. Okay? Not going to be so great. It's like using AAA batteries to charge your Tesla car. Again, you can probably do it. It's just not very efficient. Or it's like betting on the slowest runner for winning. Okay? That's my analogy. And essentially what I'm saying here, and again, this is my repeat. I'm just saying attribution was already broken as a means of measurement way before privacy killed it. Essentially, what privacy did was simply it exposed it for what it always was. Okay? Now, true attribution focuses on incrementality, and there is often confusion, like what is incrementality? Okay? Incrementality is basically the difference between what happened when we did something versus what would have happened if we did nothing. Okay? And a great analogy I came up with, thanks to AI, of course, is this. If you don't water a plant, it dies. If you water a plant, it doesn't die. Hence, the incremental value of water to a plant is life. What a great analogy. Another one is pizza. I am living proof that pizza has a lot of incremental value on my weight. This and stopping to smoke almost 2 years ago. So I'm proud of some, not proud of everything. Anyway, attribution's whole purpose is to basically count. It counts impressions, it counts clicks, it counts conversions, and tries to match between the two. While incrementality's purpose is to measure value. Another term for incrementality often used by the ad platforms is lift. Now, a great way to give you an example of how you can measure lift is Lyft. Yeah? Lyft is this gigantic mobility company. If you don't know it, it's the #1 competitor of Uber. They have these yellow cars, or they have this like yellow, pink mustache that they put on cars. Okay? Now, they advertise a lot. I'm not going to tell you the numbers, but a lot. Attribution just stopped making sense for them. They were just giving away credit all the time. They're like, hey, we need to do something different, because every time we do an experiment, like we pause something or we scale something, we don't really see an impact. Like something's off here, even though we're using the world's best technologies out there. Lyft wanted to do one thing. They wanted to measure value. Okay? That's a big difference. Now, when they came to us, they basically said, hey guys, we're gonna onboard you, and we're gonna do a bold experiment with you. We'll do whatever your platform tells us to do. Okay? Your platform will tell us go here, we'll go here, and see if we're happier when we got there. Okay? What the incremental platform basically did for them is it measured incrementality, hence the name. It basically showed them, hey, what is the incremental value you're getting from any campaign, on any channel, on any platform. Oh, and it also shows you what's the marginal results. Marginal, for you who don't know, is like the cost for the last conversion. The more you scale up a channel, the more expensive conversions become. At some point, you hit a diminishing returns point, and from that point on, you're literally just burning away your cash. Okay? Not necessarily what you should be doing. The platform also gave them very clear recommendations. Scale this up, scale this down, do nothing. By the way, this is not the real numbers for Lyft, just so we were very, very, very clear on that. This is just mock-up data. But what we got out of it was very cool. We got a case study. Yay, yay for us. We got a case study basically showing how they improved their user acquisition efficiency by 19%. Now, I'll show the QR code later, don't worry. What they got, they didn't buy more ads. They bought clarity. They were able to spend less, but get more. That's like the ultimate efficiency for any UA person out there. Am I saying you should quit your MMP? No. And if that's not clear, then here's no in other languages as well. And you might now be very confused because I just showed you a lot of slides kind of hinting the contrary. But no, attribution actually still has a lot of value, okay? Why? Because the last person who actually scored the goal did score the goal. Like, you can't argue with that. You can't basically say, oh, no, you didn't do that. You saw that, okay? It's actually pretty valuable, and I'll say why. Same goes for basketball. I actually don't really think the analogy works here, but I don't know, whatever. What attribution still does today, it's the currency. It's the way to communicate between your app and ad platforms, and your ad platforms really need this. Okay, so if you're thinking, oh, now I can actually finally get rid, no, you can't, you shouldn't, okay? This works in conjunction. But what I'm saying that, like, we live in a world where attribution as a means of measurement just stopped making sense a while ago. And if you don't believe me, I asked ChatGPT, and it basically told me I'm right. I love the bias that ChatGPT gives me. Essentially, what I've tried saying in the last, by the way, we're like at 90-something slides, is this. Attribution as a means of measurement, as an era, is completely over. It's just time to put the past in the past. Attribution is great, acting as a currency between your app and the ad platforms, but it's just not the way to measure. That this was my presentation. Again, I promised you the QR code again. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Ophir, for allowing us to be here.